People say email marketing is dead. It is still the number one way that small businesses attract new people and maintain their existing customer base. So it's not that email marketing is dead, but when you're sending the same email out to every single person, that's when people are just going to be turned off because you're not really talking to them. You're just kind of treating them like generic nobodies.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this week's episode of the Marketing Expedition Podcast, we get to speak with Tai Goodwin, and she's the CEO of that marketing team and the creator of the Liberated CEO Accelerator. She's an award-winning instructional designer with 20 plus years of experience creating learning experiences and content for Fortune 500 companies like Barnes & Noble and tech startups like Leadpages. You are in for a treat. You definitely want to hear this and learn about some ways to incorporate quizzes in your marketing strategy to generate leads and build your email list and all of the things that she does. So stay tuned. But first, it's time for our Marketing Essentials moment, the basics that you need to continue to help you build your brand and your bottom line. And this week's topic, wanted to share the importance of having mentors or belonging to a mastermind group or a peer group or another group of like-minded individuals, either in industry or out of your industry if it's local, so you're not necessarily competitors, and or belonging to a group that is in your industry that maybe is outside of your local area, so you're not competing against each other. So I have been running Peppershock Media now, along with Drew, my partner, for 19 years. And one of the very first things we did when we very first started is I went to SCORE, which is retired executives who want to give advice to startup companies, to businesses that, or maybe you have an idea and you need to understand what it would be like to become an entrepreneur, what the risks that are involved, the financing that you want to get if you can, or, all of those different options and opportunities. And maybe you're going to hire somebody for the first time, or I don't know, whatever it is, government contracting, if you want to dabble and get involved in government contracting, getting advice from the Small Business Administration, SCORE, other types of entities that will offer free advice and or then level up and then pay to be a part of a group. I was fortunate enough to get scholarshiped into doing the Emerging Leaders Program, which was through the Small Business Administration. And it was a group of, I think, 19, 20 of us that started, and it was almost a 2-year program. And then we had smaller groups of individuals. There were 6 of us. And to this day, I am still friends with most of those people that are in that group. I mean, I'm still friends with all of them, but really good friends with some of those people that were in my group. So think about in your peer group that we had. And we met on a regular basis up front. It was every week we met and we processed all kinds of things that everyone was having, issues that they were having. We celebrated together. We discussed many different things, and everyone had a different type of industry that they were involved in. But we were all entrepreneurs. We were all leaders. And so being able to have other people who are like-minded, who are at the same or similar level as you are, if you've been in business for a couple years, or if you're a startup, or if you are, a Fortune 500 company, it's great to have these mentorships and leaderships and organizations that you can be a part of. There's so many different organizations out there that have these types of groups, whether it's entrepreneurs organization or young professionals, YPO, or I also belonged to a Renaissance Executive Forum, other leaders that came together, and I did pay for it. And again, we still are friends with people who we've gone through these masterminds together. A group of us, women CEOs got together and did our own mastermind. We didn't pay for it, but we still, every once in a while we'll talk and call on each other if we need some advice or just somebody to listen to us, go through all of the things that we go through as leaders and as entrepreneurs. From a marketing perspective, the residual side effect has been astronomical for me. And this is something I didn't even realize was happening. But the people that I have been a part of, either mentoring or menteeing, or in a mastermind with peer groups or cohorts or any of those types of things, those are the people that that know, like, and trust you. They get to know you. They get to know your business inside out and out. They get to know who you are, what you do, what you represent. And then the side effect to this is that you get to do business with those people because they know, like, and trust you, right? So from a marketing perspective, being a part of any of those types of groups can really be beneficial. You can then build your network of people, and you're not necessarily there to sell to each other. So that's always a nice thing, because you're not there to be, solicited to. You're genuinely there out of, friendship and mentorship together, right? And accountability. Sometimes that's always another factor in this, because you don't want to let those people down that you are meeting with on a regular basis. I mean, it takes time to go through that and be, and show up and be there, right? So those are all of the things that kind of come from and benefit you from being a part of these groups. And it's lovely to have people who maybe have been in business longer than you, because then they can share kind of their, trials and tribulations and celebrations and regrets and goals that they've met and set and all the things. So if I could ever encourage you to be a part of something that would help you in your journey, in your entrepreneurial journey or your leadership journey, I would get a group of people that are like-minded, just like you. And even if you are on a path to then get into a leadership role, one of the things that I helped start was Boise Young Professionals. And there's young professional groups all across the country, and you can look it up and be a part of something like that. Usually it's for 40 and under, or 40 at heart, we like to say. But that was such a wonderful experience to go through, to start that group and be a part of a committee and task force and all the things. And then again, those people that I have come to know over the years, they'll come and they'll recommend us for business. They'll give us referrals and recommendations and ratings and rankings and all the things, the reviews, all the things. So if there's anything that you get from this Marketing Essentials moment right now, go find a pure mentoring group or some type of mentorship or cohort that you can be a part of if you have not ever done that before in your business. You will get out of it what you put into it. So be sure to show up, give and take, and make sure that you get the value that you need from where you are. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community powered by Peppershock Media. And today we have Tai Goodwin. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Ray, I'm so excited for this conversation.
Me too. So let's just dig right in. Tell me a little bit about you and what you're doing in Tampa, Florida, and all the fun things that we get to learn about you today.
Well, fantastic. So I am Tai Goodwin, CEO of that marketing team, and I'm also known as the Quiz Queen. I've been doing online marketing and being an online entrepreneur for about the last 20 years. It started when my daughter was born. I didn't want to go back to work. I attempted to start a business and that didn't work out quite as I expected it. But in this most current iteration of my business, that marketing team, we've been in operation for about 5 years and we've grown our business to multiple six figures. And I simply love my clients and what I get to do. So what do? We help our clients generate leads so they can make more sales.
Awesome. Everybody needs that, right? We all need more sales for sure. So, okay, quizzes are super fun. People love to take them. They, share them. I mean, I've probably gone down a rabbit hole of different types of quizzes, even those ones on Facebook, right? What Disney, princess am I? Or who knows what personality type? But tell me a little bit more about the types of quizzes that you have used that have been very successful when you are trying to generate more new leads.
The first time I started taking quizzes seriously was when I left my last day job, which is about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was still back in Minnesota, right? And that's important because now I'm in Tampa. I just could not take the cold anymore. So I've been in Tampa. I had to leave that cold weather. But, I had an email list that was about 2.5 years old because in my last day job, I could not market and do all that kind of stuff. And I used a quiz, and within 10 days, Ray, I had 500 people back on my email list. And I hadn't talked to those people in about 2.5 years.
Wow, what a way to like kickstart it or restart it again. That's awesome.
Exactly. And I used that to build my coaching business. So fast forward maybe around 6 months later, like, hey, well, that worked really well. Let me try it again. And this time I used a Facebook ad to get me in front of people that I did not know. And so one Facebook ad and one quiz later, actually one quiz, one Facebook ad, and 4 months later, I had 9,000 people on my email list.
Wow. Oh my gosh. What were the quiz questions? Tell me more. What did you do?
Yeah, my quiz was, what type of entrepreneur are you? And I created that because a lot of my clients were coaches, right? Because everybody said you should be coaching. But they weren't really coaches. Some of them were meant to be trailblazers. They wanted to be on stages. Some of them were wanting to be behind the scenes, doing like the hands-on work. Some of them were actually coaches, and then others were just consultants. They don't want to hold your hand. They just want to give you what to do and you go implement it. And so I created that quiz to help my clients figure that out so that we could build the right business. And so from there, when I started using other quizzes for me and started building quizzes for my clients, they were getting the same results. So, for example, my very first quiz client was an eyelash company.
Oh, fun.
Right. And this was like the beginning of COVID. She started her business in February, and we created a quiz called which magnetic lash is right for you? I think was the title of it at that time. Yeah. And I have the screenshots of the results. So one of the results that we got was, after we have a quiz, you have an email series that follows. And that first email that went out over a 2-week period of time, it generated $23,000 in sales.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And we're talking low ticket like eyelashes, right? So it wasn't like these were $2,500 offers. And so after seeing the success and after seeing how fast it was to generate leads, I just kind of fell in love with the whole idea. And the great thing about it is it's not just about growing your list. It's always about getting more data. So one of the things I say, Ray, is that would you marry somebody based on their email address?
I don't think so. I mean, probably not.
Now, here's what I always say. If it was Jason Momoa at hotmail.com, or Morris Chestnut at hotmail.com, I'd show up with the dress and the ring on the date. I mean, that's just,
I do.
Or Idris Elba at hotmail.com. That would work too. I'm flexible, right? But in most cases, we're not going to do that. And we do that with our sales all the time. We get somebody's email address and we expect them to buy from us like the next day. And you haven't courted them, you haven't wooed them. Yeah. And so when all you know is their email address, it's kind of hard to keep that conversation going. Mm-hmm. But if you use a quiz and you ask the right questions, you get to know more about them, their pain points, what their goals are. And so now you can tailor your email messages to them specifically. And personalization in marketing is everything right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, like first-party data instead of third-party data, if they're actually the ones giving you their email address straight from them, themselves for first-party data, that's what we want. Because third-party data, you're really not supposed to use that anymore, or unless you've got permission and you have to do the double opt-ins and all this other extra stuff. But I love the idea of having to take a quiz and giving and capturing and getting all that good, juicy information about them that you can use to help sell. That's great. What a great tactic. Yeah, no, I can see how this really could be a wonderful tactic for people to consider in their marketing things. Tell me some more different types of quizzes that you've done now over the last, you said 5 years. So there's got to be lots of different things that you've asked and maybe some things not to do. Like what are some things that have not worked out so well too?
Well, that's a great question. And I'll start with this because a lot of people say, well, can you just tell me the questions that you use? And the questions are actually based on what the topic of the quiz is. But I see a lot of people make that mistake to say, I know all the questions I'm going to ask in this. And that's not how we do it. We always start with the end in mind. And
Right.
so, for example, we did a quiz for a gynecologist, and it was called "Where Did My O Go?" And
Uh-huh.
yes, we were talking about that O, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so, the goal was to figure out, are you experiencing a decline in your libido? Is it because you're on medication? Is it because you're stressed out at work? Is it because you're not eating correctly? Or is it because you're not exercising? And based on how they answered the questions, you'd be able to tell, right? So, let's say a question is, well, how often do you exercise?
Yeah.
And a person says never. And then how often do you stay hydrated? Well, I don't do hydration. It's easy to see that, hey, there's something going on in your diet that you might want to check out, right?
Ah.
And so the questions help you segment your audience, based on their outcomes. And that's, how we've been able to create really accurate quizzes and quizzes that actually give people some value. Because it's not just like, hey, what color is your aura, right? It's, like, for example, like the one I just said about, where did my O go?
Mhm.
We did another quiz around like, what's the fastest way to grow your natural hair? We did another quiz around, are you wifey material? For a dating coach. Or does your relationship need a rescue? Right. Another one that we did for a dating coach. Or we did one for a feminine hygiene company, and it was called, what type of fruit is your cookie? Right. Right? Are you like the strawberry, where you're traditional, or are you like a passion fruit? Right. So,
Oh my gosh, I could see how much that could be a lot of fun. And people would share it with others too, right?
exactly, exactly. And so that's, you want to make marketing fun, you want to make it engaging. And at the end of the day, we call it a trifecta, because your clients win, your audience wins because they get some information they didn't have before. You win because now you've got some better data to do marketing, and then your bank account wins because when you do better marketing and when you create that relationship, it's easier for you to make sales.
Absolutely. I think that's a great tactic to incorporate in the things that you're doing. And like you said, it's then emailing afterwards and then tailoring those messages specifically to what their answers are in the survey. So you could really segment them out based on what they say or don't say, or what they say, answer to yes. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And that's so important. People overlook that. And then what you get is like email fatigue. And it's not because people don't want email. Everybody will say, or I won't say everybody, but people say email marketing is dead. It is still the number one way that small businesses attract new people and maintain their existing customer base. So it's not that email marketing is dead, but when you're sending the same email out to every single person, that's when people are just going to be turned off, because you're not really talking to them. You're just kind of treating them like generic nobodies.
Right. It's just very much more generalized as opposed to really focusing in on their wants and needs and desires. That's very good.
Yes, 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 yes. We don't date that way, right?
That's right. I know, right? You're absolutely right. And then the more you answer, the more you know, the more data that you're researching and discovering and all those types of things too. I love that. So do you, when you work with a client, how does the process go? I mean, you said you start with the end in mind, but what kind of things do you go through when you really want to develop those questions? And I imagine there's some psychology behind the questions and how you phrase them, and just ways that you go through and what tools you might use, all of those things. Tell me more.
Well, yeah, we've got a whole process, and we call it Quiz and Grow Rich, right? And so there's a book coming soon that kind of walks through the whole process that we teach. And just to, there's an art and a science to this, right? So my background is in instructional design. Right. So I've got a master's degree in curriculum design, instructional design, but I also spent about a week learning how to create legally defensive questions.
Ooh, legally
Because
defensive questions.
legally
Wow.
defensible questions. Yeah, because we were creating assessments for stockbrokers in one of my former, day jobs. And so we had to make sure we knew how to ask questions that if this is certifying them in something, it's not going to penalize them, right? Or they can't come back and say, hey, you asked me a question, it was an unfair question. So I've spent some time really learning, an entire week, like 8 hours a day, learning how to create
Legally
really, really good
defensible questions.
questions. Yes. Yes, yes.
Wow. Wow.
And
That's a
so there's an
mouthful
art.
too.
Yeah, so there's an art and a science to
Yeah.
it. And so, the process though does start though with really having a clear understanding of who your audience is and the pain points you're trying to solve. And that's with any marketing, like that, right? It's with any
Yeah.
marketing. And people don't always start there. They start with, "Oh, this is sexy," or "This is hot," or "This is cool." You got to do the market research and understand who your audience is. And that's going to make your marketing so much more impactful.
Right, right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about you and your history and kind of the types of clients that you love to work with, maybe ones you don't like to work with, but tell me more.
I've always been a teacher. I used to be a fifth grade teacher, as a matter of fact.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, listen, bless their heart, because I did
Yeah.
that for about 2 years, and I was like, I am not that kind of superhero, right? But I love teaching, and I joke, like I love Canva. Like one of the reasons I became a teacher was because I like creating lesson plans and worksheets. So we get to do the same thing with marketing. So I love teaching, and I do a lot of that in what we do now. So we teach people how to create quizzes, or we just will give them the strategy, or we'll even build it out for them. I've got a lot of folks who are busy at that marketing team. Our mantra is no time, no team, no tech, no problem, right? So if you don't have any of those things, we will literally do your marketing for you.
Wait, no. So no team, no time, no what?
No tech.
No tech. Oh, got you. Tech. Okay, gotcha. I
Yeah,
love it. No team, no time, no tech, no problem.
that's
That's
right.
awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because that's who my clients are. Like they're amazingly brilliant at what they do. But marketing tech is not their favorite way to spend their time.
Right.
They don't have a lot of time because they're out there busy serving their clients and delivering. And then if they just don't have the team for it because they're in that space where they're growing, but they're not quite there yet, we're able to come in and support them. Now, you asked about who I don't like to work with. I have a hard time working with people who don't understand the value of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a quick story. One of my clients said, "Well, all you're doing is writing my emails." I said, "No, that's not true. There's about 7 or 8 steps to writing really effective emails. And that's everything from researching what your competitors are doing to looking at keywords and topics and metrics and editing and then adding it to your platform. There's all these different steps. So when people don't understand the value of marketing, and you've probably seen this a lot, I'll create my own landing pages. I'll do my own Facebook ads. Like, you do realize there are companies that have an entire department called media buying that
Yeah.
all they do is buy Facebook ads.
Yep.
You who know nothing about ads, and I'm going to do my own Facebook ads. So, if you don't understand the value of marketing, you're really not a good fit for us.
Right. There's this, I'm going to butcher this quote, but there's a quote that I saw, or maybe a meme or something out there, but a client's asking, well, how much do you charge per hour? And then the response is, well, how much do you want to pay for my 20 years of experience? Yeah, it's the value, right? It's absolutely the value of the experience that people have gone through, all the things that they've already discovered, all the trials and tribulations and hurdles that they've already had to jump through. And if you are an entrepreneur who has never done anything like that before, what's the value of their time, of your time spending trying to figure things out that you're first time at it, you're never going to get it right to begin with. So yeah, trusting those who know what they're doing is always going to be way more valuable, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I've invested a lot in learning. I've paid to be part of, mastermind and learning programs. I've probably spent in the last 3 years, I've probably spent about close to $100,000, in training and learning how to do what we do so that we can deliver it to our clients and they don't have to spend their money on that. Right.
Right.
And it's funny. I just put out a video the other day that said, if you're going to hire an expert, please listen to them. Right. Like people do this all the time. Like, you hired me, but then you're trying to tell me what the Facebook ad should be. But if you knew that, why didn't you just do it?
Yeah, exactly. What are you paying me for if you're not going to listen to me?
But I see people do that all the time, and I'm like, you're only delaying, the results that you could get, and you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and another thing that people always don't always have the understanding of is that marketing truly is, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time to develop. And, you might try one survey with a series of questions. And if you don't get the results that you want, you could even test it again and test it again. And then, do a small sample size and then see how you get those results. And, the wording, the verbiage, even the way you order the quiz questions too, right? I mean, all of that matters, right?
Absolutely. And I want to clarify something because I hear a lot of people do this. There's a difference between a quiz and a survey. And somebody asked me, oh, do you use SurveyMonkey? I said, well, not quite. When we are building quizzes, they calculate on the back end. And a survey doesn't usually do that. A survey, and most surveys, they just tell you what I already know about myself, like how many kids I have and where I live. Like, I don't want that information back. Like, you're not going to give that back to me. Who cares?
Yeah.
But a quiz is going to actually calculate and give me a result. It's going to take my information and crunch it and do something on the back end to either give me a score. We were working with a real estate agent. And so her quiz was around, how motivated a seller are you? Right. And so we could actually use a score-based quiz and say, hey, you got a 90 out of 100, you're really motivated to sell. Or if you got a 10 out of 100, you're not really motivated to sell. Maybe you should just stay put. Right. So, we're able to build different kinds of quizzes based on, the hook and the information, but it's still not a survey. And I really want to help people understand that because nobody really likes to take surveys, right? Unless you pay me. Like, I don't want to take
Yeah. I know we're constantly trying to get, customer feedback and surveys, and we have to lure and bribe people basically with gift certificates in order to then, to even get motivated to maybe want to take it, and then they drop off because no one wants to do surveys. You're right, unless you're getting paid or it's something wonderful that you're going to get in return. But quizzes, on the other hand, those quizzes are always fun, and it's fun to learn more about you, and those the assessments, like the personality assessments. I mean, I love to do those.
Because you're giving value, and again, we're a little narcissistic, right? We want to know, tell me about myself, right? But if you're giving me a quiz like the one that we have a quiz out right now called what type of marketer are you? And in that quiz, it'll give you like 4 different profiles. Like, are you the minimalist marketer? Are you the prayer warrior marketer where you just pray? Right? you put a post out there and you pray to the Facebook algorithm. Exactly. It's like this, right?
Fingers crossed. I hope it works.
Exactly. Right. But when we give people that kind of feedback about themselves and say, hey, listen, you're a minimalist and you're like, a prayer warrior when it comes to your marketing, you need some strategy behind it to make it work for you. Like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was doing those things and it's hurting me. Mm-hmm. So a quiz is going to give people value. And that's such a great way to start off a relationship.
Right. Oh, you know what? We have to develop a quiz. Are you a good client? Yes or no? Do you listen to your people that you hire?
Well, I mean, that's totally doable. I mean, actually, we have a framework for that because we've been batching like quiz questions so that we can like do some reselling of them. And that's going to be coming up a little bit later for us.
Awesome.
But we've been batching that. And so one of the quizzes that we have is coaching right for you right now. Right? Because people think they need coaching, and maybe sometimes you just need some mindset stuff, or maybe you don't need coaching. What you need is the
therapy.
Right?
Therapy.
You know what? That's true, and that is 100% true.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You don't need coaching, you need Jesus. Okay.
Nope. That's right. Yeah, no, I totally get that. I can't wait to read your book. So you're writing a book right now.
Yes.
Okay. And so Quiz and Grow Rich. Tell me a little bit more about that. What made you decide to do this, and what are your plans for the book, and when do you have a launch date already?
The launch date is going to be around Black Friday. Right. So I got to kick it up in gear. And so what I did was, I've been doing this webinar for about 2 years, and just, a quick lesson on repurposing content. So we've taken the webinars that we've done and got them transcribed. And so now we're turning it into book form. We've already got a Quiz and Grow Rich workbook, right? But the book actually gives some, more in-depth case studies. It gives you some of the psychology behind why quizzes work and some of the art of how to craft really good questions and hooks. And I love writing. I'm a book nerd. One of my first jobs was at a bookstore, and so I'm a total bibliophile. And so it's just another way of me to do what I love in my business, but also deliver some value to folks.
Absolutely. I'm sure I don't need to throw a bunch of statistics and percentages at you for you to know that most of us spend too much time staring at screens. Being able to consume your content on the go means that your clients and customers can listen and learn from you without being tied to their desks. With Hello Audio, your customers can put their phones down, power off their PCs, close their MacBooks, and get the information they need from you while they're, let's say, walking a dog, doing a jigsaw puzzle, washing the dishes, maybe when they're in the car or exercising on the treadmill, sunbathing in their garden. Well, Hello Audio makes it incredibly easy for you. No more hours spent trying to figure out tech settings or trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. You can click publish on an audio feed in a matter of minutes and have control over who accesses what. So visit peppershock.com/offers and sign up for a free trial of Hello Audio. So these webinars, tell me more. If people want to listen to the webinars, what do they need to do?
So the webinar is called the Leads Workshop. They go to leadsworkshop.com, and that's where they can find, it'll talk about how to get 300 leads in 30 days every single month on autopilot, because that's what we commit to with our quizzes. If we don't get you 300 leads in 30 days, we will work with you until you get your 300 leads. That's our guarantee. And people told me, well, don't say that number to people. I said, I can say it because I can back it up.
Yeah.
With the right ad spend and the right strategy. Now you got to do what we say, right? But that right ad spend, that right strategy, you're not going to, let's be clear, you're not going to get there spending $1 a day, right? That's just not going to happen. But with the right ad spend and strategy, it's very easy to get at least 300 leads, in a month using a quiz if you have the right support and the right system in place.
Now, when you say leads, are you talking people giving you their email address, or beyond that, like where they're giving you more information, they're engaging with you, all of those types of things?
People that fill out, that complete your quiz and give you their email address.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because what we say,
people are taking the quiz. Yeah.
At least. At the very least.
That's good. That's good.
Listen, when we do our quizzes, we're seeing, depending on how much we spend, we're seeing, well, let me talk about conversion rates because this is important. So like your traditional conversion rates for lead magnets is about 15 to 20%, right? So I love Canva checklists, create them all the time, but for every 100 people, I'm only going to get like 15 that say yes to that. With quizzes, we've seen them convert up to 60%.
Oh my
so
God.
That means for every 100 people, 60 of them are going to say yes. Now, for my friends who are out there who've been trying to grow their email list and you're stuck at 200, could you imagine, right? A month of just sending 100 people, even just 100 people, and you're getting 50 or 60 new people to your email list. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's power in that. So that when I say a lead, we're talking about people who complete the quiz and now they're on your email list and you get to nurture them with amazing content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen this happen before where quizzes have been gone out and we get the results back, and you're right. I mean, it does convert, and because then they have interest. They've spent time, they've invested with you a little bit more than what you normally would if you just send them an email and expect them to click on a link that they're not going to get anything in those results back to you, right? So I think it's really the secret is getting the results back to them, because then they're interested. They want to know, more about themselves or whatever it is that they answered, if it's trivia questions or whatever the case might be,
Right.
What, like I said earlier, what Disney princess I might be, or what,
Yeah, people, and it's that value. Like we've got a quiz framework for, what type of Facebook ads are right for you, because people don't know. I'm just going to do a traffic ad because I just want a whole bunch of traffic. Well, that doesn't always work. Right. There's some really specific situations where that's the thing, but for most of us, that's not going to work. So, it's really about giving, value to people. And one of the things in our Quiz and Grow Rich system is like, we've got that whole thing templated out so that it's not just the questions, but it's the outcomes. And then most importantly, it's the emails, right? Because
The follow-up is
Yes.
the critical key.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, there's fortunate follow-up, right? And so we've
Yes.
got a whole templated system for how you can take content and create those emails. And we're talking like 5 to 7 emails for each outcome because it's segmented. But we've got that system nailed down that makes it really easy for our clients to feel like, copywriting pros by the
Right.
time you're done.
Nice, nice. And I love that there's already the framework there, so you don't have to just kind of dream it up yourself and take the time. Because that's the other thing too, is that it would take so much time to come up with this all on your own,
Oh yeah.
and not having it proven or tested, or at least have something similar. I mean, I'm sure you can customize it to your own industry or your own company, but I mean,
Yeah.
at least that there's already some proven metrics and some results out there. I think that's really that's a great business model that you have got going on here. I love it.
Yeah, I'm so excited because I love what I do. It's a lot of fun, but it's also really delivering value to people at the end of the day. So,
Absolutely. So, okay, beyond the book, what do you hope to see in the next, I don't know, year, 2 years, 5 years from now? Where do you want this business to go and grow?
well, I do have some goals to hit a 7-figure business, right? But one of the things I'm really excited about is we're launching a podcast,
Mm.
and it's called the Liberated CEO Experience.
Ooh.
And it's called that because I am going total digital nomad.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kicking things off in December. I'm going to be in Panama City, Panama for 23 days. And so, I'm excited about launching this new leg of life where I'm just taking my laptop, helping people build quizzes all across the globe and
Yeah.
just being liberated.
Have laptop will travel. And you said your daughter, I mean, so your daughter's probably about 20 years old now since you started the first time around. And
Yeah.
yeah, coincidentally, our business has been around for 19 years, and I, have a high school senior. So at some point, and a freshman in high school now. So at some point, yeah, have laptop will travel.
Oh, there you go. And something else that's cool. My daughter actually works in the business. She's been building quizzes. She builds quizzes and builds email automations. I mean, she's been building things in Active Campaign, Infusionsoft. So she's got some marketable skills, as a result of working in the business for us.
Yeah, actually, that brings up a good point, because a lot of people, I think right now, are really trying to test different technologies out and understand tech. You mentioned Active Campaign and Infusionsoft, and there's several of them out there. Do you have some favorites that you really like to work with above others?
I do, and I'm going to do a shameless promo here, but last year we white labeled a CRM
Uh-huh.
called Lead Momentum for our clients because so many of them were using like 50 different tools and they couldn't figure it out. And so we just said, listen, we'll create, the CRM. We white label the CRM. It's based in Go High Level, which is really popular right now. But our version of it has some extra kick to it because of the content and the funnels that we've built into it. But that's my favorite tool. And I was never an all-in-one tool before that,
Yeah.
because it just didn't feel right. But I've been playing in this for almost 3 years now. And it's an amazing, amazing tool to have. But for quizzes, if people are interested in that, my top 2 quiz tools right now are Try Interact.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is Outgrow. And I've got some links that I can share in your show notes for both of those if
I
you
would
want.
love to, for sure, for sure. If you've got some affiliate links, bring it on. We'll share them out there in the world. Yeah, no, I think you're right, because there's not really a one tool fits all, right? Everyone has to have different tools for different things, and sometimes if you try to get the one tool fits all, it's gonna be really great in some areas and then fall short in other areas. So then you go to another tool because it's really great in that, So then it's kind of like cobbling all these together and making them all talk and trying to automate it. The tech stack is unreal, and every day there's something new that comes out that I have to check it out and see if it's any good or not, or So it is kind of that ongoing quest to find the right tools.
Yeah, it gets hard. It's not chasing after that bright shiny new object. Oh, it
I
could do this,
know, I
this,
know. Yeah.
but you
Yep.
but you learn. You
Yep,
learn.
absolutely. No, I hear you. Okay, so if you could step into my shoes for just a moment, pretend you're being the interviewer, because you're going to be doing this now pretty soon, right? You're going to interview other people, or are you going to, for your podcast? So, what question did I not ask you that I should ask you?
Oh, what are the top marketing mistakes that you see people make.
Okay, ready? What are the
Yeah.
top marketing mistakes that you see people make?
Oh, that's a great question, Ray. Oh, great question.
Tell me more.
Oh man. Um, yeah, and I talk about this stuff all the time. Like one of the top things is just not doing the research. Research is not sexy. It's like, I just want to choose this audience because it feels good. I'm like, they will feel good, but they will not pay you. So, doing the research to really understand the needs of your client and who's willing and able to pay you. You got to do that if you're going to be effective in marketing, because there's just so many entrepreneurs out there. The barrier of entry has never been lower before. And so to cut through the noise, you've got to really, really hone in on your messaging and all that good stuff. The second thing is like people don't give it enough time. I think Facebook and TikTogram, right? Making up some words there.
TikTogram, yeah, the face page.
Exactly, right? They've got people believing that if I just get this one magic viral reel, I will get all the followers and then I'll make all the money. And that is not how this stuff works. And so it's kind of like having kids in the back of the car. Are we there yet? No.
Every time you ask me, I'm just going to go slower.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Right. But, it takes time. And, folks have to understand that there are companies like, Google and Amazon that everyone knows, and they still advertise, they still promote and market. So if they're doing it and they've got entire departments, you've got to do it too, and you've got to give it some time. And I think, the third mistake is I would love to see, especially women entrepreneurs, just be more confident.
Right.
Be more confident. The marketing pros do a really good job of, we got 10,000 leads and we made 6 figures and 8 figures in 2 weeks. They're really, really good at telling their stories. And a lot of times as women, we kind of downplay how freaking amazing we are. And we've got to stop doing that, because the only way that our clients are going to find us is if they believe that we're able to help them. And they're not going to believe that if we're not really talking about the successes and wins that we've helped our clients get.
Tell those stories, absolutely, and not be ashamed to share exactly what you've done and how you've done it. I love it. That's great. Good advice. All right, so those are some mistakes that people make. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Okay, one more question for you. What if you, to market your own business, because you're a marketing company, if you had unlimited budget to be able to market what you do for others to then purchase something from you, since we are on a marketing journey, what would you do? What would you spend your money on? If somebody said, here you go, here's an unlimited budget for you to market your own business, what would you do? What would you spend it on?
Oh, that's such a good, juicy question. I'd probably spend it on like producing a really amazing podcast.
Yeah.
Like full bells and whistles, have my own studio, and in the podcast I'd always promote our quizzes, but I would love to have like a super big budget for a podcast and pay amazing people to come on and all that kind of stuff. That'd be so much fun.
Oh my goodness, it would be awesome, right? I support that 110%. Excellent. Well, this has been such a treat to get to talk to you today and share all of your nuggets and wisdoms. And I just have a million thoughts now of things that I could do and work with you on. I just, think that this could be a great aspect for us to partner on. So I'm definitely going to follow up and I want to see what quiz we can do next.
That'd be so much fun, Ray. So much fun.
Yeah. Tell the people how they can reach out to you and get in touch with you if they're interested in having you do some quizzes for them.
You can always find us at thatmarketingteam.com/quiz. That's a great place to start. If you're looking for me to connect personally, it's Tai Goodwin, TAIGOODWIN, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. TikTok, though I don't recommend you go look at my TikTok. But
I know. I'm the same way.
I got some crappy stuff on. But it's kind of funny, actually, maybe a little bit sad, but you can take a look at it for kicks, right?
Yeah.
But definitely on Instagram, I'm hanging out there, and it's all under Tai Goodwin.
No, earlier you called it Tiktogram, so we'll create our own platform together. Excellent, excellent.
Oh, this was so much fun, Ray. Thank you so much for being so much fun to talk to.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, the very best thing that you can do for Tai and I is to share this with others and then give us a good review, because those are like gold in the podcast world, as you're soon to learn. And then we'll get this out. And then also just a quick little plug of the Marketing Expedition community to get more of all of these types of little nuggets that we learned today and others, and we'll have you join us there. And until next time, everyone, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.